Hello there. Yes, this is the right video, session 62. I will start by apologizing because the audio capture got messed up and it did not record any of what the players were saying. However, I will do my best to enunciate the awesomeness that was this session. The fall of the Scarlet Triad, the slaver ring that the heroes of Breach Hill had been hunting down for half of the campaign. It all came down to this final fight against Uri Zandavar, what we have come to know as one of the other weaker twins in the eyes of the Ruby Prince Kehemet III. This was the fight that the players and characters would never forget, because we lost one of our beloved heroes in the fight. The fight began in the sub-basement of the pyramid. It was lit by multiple braziers around a small altar in the center that Uri was standing on. Before the heroes could fight Uri, though, they had to deal with another pair of enforcers, a pair of mages, and Yelik Yazaman, the face of the Scarlet Triad in Katapesh. Uri had surrounded himself in some sort of blood magic ritual that seemed extremely powerful and would need to be weakened before he could be dealt with. In the four corners of this rectangular room were small etched runes in the walls. The heroes split their attention among the enemies before them. Naoma used his hunt prey ability on the mages. Bulat charged Yelik because he was using a bow, forcing him to continually spend his actions moving away from Bulat. Dama assisted Naoma when the enforcers began to close the distance on him, and Kaiser focused down the mages to take them out as fast as possible. For the most part, the fight was going well. However, the heroes soon realized that there was more to this fight than met the eye. After the first mage was killed, her body was flung against one of the corners as it lodged itself on small spikes protruding from the wall. As the blood began to seep down into the etched rune, it activated and began to glow and pulse with arcane power. The heroes had to think of something quick, as the others were getting killed off and attaching to the wall as well. Naoma used a grappling arrow to deliver the final blow against the fourth and final enemy, as Bulat grappled and held Yelik in place. Even with Kaiser's help, the magical force that was pulling the corpse to the wall was far too powerful. As soon as all four runes were glowing, Uri began to laugh as he said, "Now begins the trial of the heart. Let's see how long you can last against my blood magic." Immediately after, the heroes felt the entire chamber pulse with negative energy. Mechanically, they had to roll against fortitude saves against 3d12 plus 19 negative damage, becoming drained 4, slowed 1, and 2d12 persistent bleed damage on a critical failure. Not a good situation. It had gone from bad to worse. By the time the party had dealt with the runes, most of them were at or below half of their maximum hit points. However, with the runes destroyed, Yuri's blood ritual ended. Uri charged Bulat, exclaiming that he was the stronger of his twin pairing, and that he was not going to fail, and after a few devastating strikes, he did just that. Bulat had been knocked unconscious. Kaiser defended Dama as he moved in to heal him with battle medicine and a potion. After another round, everyone was in critical condition due to Yuri's onslaught. This was the moment Uri had been waiting for. Bulat truly wounded, and Kaiser in the same path as him. Uri waved his hand and casted a sinister spell. Massacre. A wave of necromantic energy flew through Kaiser and then into Bulat's body. Kaiser avoided most of the wave, but Bulat was not so lucky. With fewer than 50 hit points, he failed the fortitude save, which means Bulat took 100 negative damage from a spell with the death trait. For those who are new to Pathfinder 2nd Edition or do not know what that means, usually when you fall unconscious from taking damage of any kind, you become Dying 1, or Dying 2 if you were critically hit, or you critically failed a save that caused you to become unconscious. However, a spell or ability that has the death trait means that if it brings you to 0 hit points for any reason, you die. That's it. Dead. High-level Pathfinder 2nd Edition is very scary when it comes to failing certain spells and abilities from creatures. Bulat was dead. Or was he? The heroes were still slowed 1, which meant that they only had 2 actions per turn for the next few rounds. Dama and Kaiser were out of healing spells and scrolls. Dama calculated that when the magical slowed condition would wear off, he would be able to try his resuscitation ability from his medic archetype, but he would only get 1 chance, because you can't use resuscitate on a body that's been dead for more than 3 rounds. This was it. The moment and the whole reason why Dama took the resuscitate feat. Completely depleted of resources, DC 42 medicine check. Dama had to roll a 9 or above on a d20 with his added medicine bonus. Natural 2, and completely out of hero points. I could feel the demeanor of my players sink through Discord. A moment of silence as Bulat had his final thoughts in character as he saw that wave of negative energy flying right towards him. It was soul-crushing. The heroes killed Uri a mere 3 rounds later as they retaliated in rage for their fallen friend and brother in arms. Kaiser's usual focused and control mentality was gone, and for the first time, Kaiser went into a rage, swinging with more force than control, and bloodthirsty to take vengeance on the man who had killed his brother. After the fight concluded, the doors that the party entered through began to glow with some sort of abjuration magic, preventing them from leaving. The heroes could feel the pyramid begin to ascend off the ground and fly northward towards Osirian. What would usually be a moment of excitement and wonder as the players reached level 18 for defeating that encounter was only met with sadness. Kaiser moved Bulat to the altar in the center of the room and held his brother in his arms. He then began to wonder if moving out of the way of that spell caused Bulat to absorb more of the energy. He wasn't sure exactly how the spell worked, but guilt began to swell in his mind. He then looked up at Dama, begging him to do something. Naoma informed the party that at the rate of travel, they would arrive in Osirian in 2 days. With that information, Dama informed Kaiser that the resurrect ritual could be performed in the capital of Sothis, and that he did not have the material to do it right then and there. Dama also informed Kaiser that even if he was successful in performing the ritual, there was still no guarantee that Pharasma would let him return to the material plane. It was a long, quiet 2 days as the heroes drifted in the pyramid to Sothis. When they arrived in Sothis, they were greeted by Kehemet III himself, the Ruby Prince, ruler of Osirian. He requested the body of Uri because he still wanted to give his son a proper burial. He also understood that the heroes wanted to try and resurrect Bulat, and he granted them that opportunity. The heroes found a large temple of Sarenrae, the Temple of the Eternal Sun, in which to attempt the resurrection. After spending 10,000 gold pieces to buy enough diamonds to make the attempt, now all the party had to do was wait and hope that it would work. Since Kaiser and Naoma were aiding in the ritual, they each got to make checks to aid before the results were determined. Both Kaiser and Naoma succeeded in their checks, granting Dama a total of a +2 circumstance bonus to his roll. The ritual had a DC of 43. Dama's medicine skill check was a +32, meaning that he had to roll a 9 to succeed at the ritual, given the circumstances. Outside of me role-playing an NPC, I've never experienced such silence in the Discord as we all waited on Randy to roll for Dama. After what seemed like 2 minutes, the D20 flew out on the screen, bounced a few times, and Natural 9 for a total of 43, exactly a success. Dama had done it. He resurrected Bulat. Dama had experienced a joy he had never felt before. Something had changed within him. He felt good. But in all the same moment, he felt his connection to Asmodeus fade away. He still felt a tie to divine power, but it wasn't the same. For the first time, he felt positive. During the first night's sleep in Sothis, he heard a familiar voice call to him that he'd heard but a few months ago. It was the voice of Sarenrae.